people connected from North Africa, connected from East Africa, Central Africa, Southern Africa, and Western Africa. And that is all in the spirit of the Association of African Universities, which brings us together. So you are most welcome. My name is Nodumo Dlamini. I'm the Director of ICT Services and Communications at the Association of African Universities. Today, I have the honor to act as your Madam of Ceremonies for this event. I'll just shortly take you through what the program looks like before we start. So the program today will just be an hour. I don't know who needs to mute. So I would start with a brief overview of the Association of African Universities. My boss, the Secretary General of the Association of African Universities, will then introduce AFRID, the AFRID Network, following which our esteemed Professor Peter Okebukola would then do us the honors in terms of launching the network. We will then take you through the AFRID website and the procedures for subscribing. After that, our colleague, Miss Elizabeth Colucci from Obriel Global in Spain, will give a brief presentation on networking and potentials for global partnerships. My colleague, Professor Damtu Tefera, will then introduce a new climate network under the AFRID networks, after which we will receive closing remarks from Professor Peter Okebukola. So you are all most welcome. Just as a brief now about the Association of African Universities, in case some of you that are connected don't know us very well, we are a platform of consultation, exchange, cooperating among higher institutions of learning in Africa. We were founded in Rabat, Morocco on November 12, 1967 by 34 existing universities then. But the conversations around creating the Association of African Universities began in 1963, and they were largely held in Khartoum, Sudan. So the launching of AAU in Morocco was a result of a long process of discussions and planning that began 4 years earlier. So we are the implementing arm of the African Union as in pertaining the higher education strategy in Africa. So we are implementing the continental education strategy for Africa, which is running from 2015 to 2025. We are also in other regions in terms of regional offices. We have a regional office in North Africa, hosted by Al-Azhar University. We also have a regional office in Khartoum, Sudan, hosted by the University of Khartoum. We also have some offices in the United States of America, hosted by a number of higher education institutions in the US. Basically, We aim to be the leading advocate for higher education in Africa, and our concern is how do we improve or enhance the quality and relevance of higher education in Africa so that we strengthen its contribution to Africa's development. We are based in Accra, Ghana. We have been hosted by the government of Ghana since 1970. We run a number of programs around capacity building, around quality assurance, around bringing universities and researchers together to do their job better. One of the objectives of the association, which is to bring people together, has been highlighted by our member institutions as most valuable. There was a time when we did a benefits survey in preparation for our 50th anniversary, and our member institutions told us that what they value most is to be brought together, is to know each other, is to collaborate, is to be able to do joint research. So we like to emphasize that that's the biggest value that we bring to our member institutions, a platform for collaboration, a platform for working together, a platform for knowing your colleague in another region and then deciding to jointly resource mobilize or to work together on projects. So this launch of this network is coming at a time where we needed to strengthen that aspect of the association. And we also, of course, run a number of other programs. I will not take too much time to go through all these programs because we have a short time together today. So it gives me great pleasure to ask Professor Olushola Bandele Oyewole, the AAU Secretary General, to take the floor and introduce AFRID to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Madam Odumo. On behalf of the Association of African Universities, permit me to welcome all the over 260 participants who are connected to this platform at this particular time. Let me especially welcome our highly esteemed Higher Education Ambassador for West Africa, Professor Peter Okebukola, who has graciously agreed to launch this initiative that we are just starting in AAU. I also want to especially recognize the presence of Professor Ramon Torrent of the Obred Global in Barcelona. We appreciate the collaboration you've had with AAU. We appreciate you. All I want to do at this particular time is to present to higher education community in Africa the African Research, Innovation, and Development Network, which is a new initiative that we are starting in Africa. You may be wondering why this. We found out that for Africa to develop and move beyond where we are now, quality education is needed for our development. Not just quality education backed up with quality research. These are essential for driving African development. And quite often we've interacted with our development partners, and many people have complained about the absence of African institutions in development activities within the continent. And we feel that this should not be so. And that's why we are starting up the African Research, Innovation, and Development Network. It is about expanding and enhancing significantly the quality of research done in Africa by African researchers and empowering African universities in Africa to focus on development. Ladies and gentlemen, what we are doing today in the AFRID network that we are launching is to bring together a number of peer African institutions and researchers that are willing to work together with a view to generating a critical mass that could more effectively support development initiatives in Africa. Ladies and gentlemen, our vision is to see how universities in Africa can collaborate together in research that will contribute to our development. I know that there are other initiatives similar to this, the Alliance of Research Universities in Africa, which is made up of 16 universities, the African Research Network that's based in Manchester, the Forum for Innovation in African Universities, and the African Research and Impact Network. Our concern is this: we are not just interested in few universities. We want to see what we can do to bring the over 1,000 universities in Africa together. Let them see what they can do to contribute to their communities and to the continent. Ladies and gentlemen, the African Research, Innovation and Development Network is a development platform for empowering African universities to employ research to contribute to developments in the continent. It is anchored at the Association of African Universities. But for us to be effective, we need some international collaboration. And that's why the AFRID Global in Barcelona, Spain, has graciously agreed to be our #1 collaborator. And beyond, through them, we are networking with other associations in the whole of the world. Ladies and gentlemen, our goal is to strengthen African universities and their capacity to undertake research for development. The vision of this network we are launching today is the promotion of African research for innovation and development. And I believe that those of us that are connected, we can easily identify with this goal. Briefly put, ladies and gentlemen, what we are doing in this network is that we want each university to recognize their areas of strength. And you should be able to know the brand of university that you are, and then connect yourself with other universities with similar brands like yours, and then we can network together. And through you, we as AAU will get you grants that can help your networks to fulfill the missions of your university brand. We also feel that it's high time that we network researchers in Africa, to the extent that if we are looking for researchers in a particular area of development, we have a network to connect ourselves to. Ladies and gentlemen, we believe that universities may be broad, but even under the broad canopy that many universities are operating, it's high time we brand ourselves. We feel that universities in Africa can be branded as research and development universities, entrepreneurial universities, and there are universities that are entrepreneurial, ICT and digitalization universities, agricultural universities, engineering for development universities, medical universities, education universities, open and distance learning universities, management and humanities universities, comprehensive vocational and technical universities. Ladies and gentlemen, I believe that all of us connected to this platform, you could identify an area of strength of your university in these 10 brandings of universities in Africa. And through this, all you will do is to register into any of these brands, and then we can take it off from AAU to see how we can enhance your interests and your capabilities. Beyond branding of the universities, we believe that researchers in Africa should not just do research without seeing that their research contributes to the development of their communities and the continent. And that's why we are also, at the same time, launching the AFRID research networks. Our intention is to see how researchers in the following fields can be in identified networks through which we can mobilize them to contribute to their development. The research networks that we've identified are the following: agro-processing and food networks, climate resonance and ocean networks, health and pharmacy, entrepreneurship and social impact networks, artificial intelligence and remote systems network, digital education and digitalization and ICT networks, social science and humanities for development networks, innovation and startups networks, sustainable water use, marine resources and fisheries network, sustainable mining networks, food safety networks, energy networks, transport and logistics in sustainable cities network, and sustainable engineering networks for development. We've agreed on these networks because they are areas that are tangential to our needs for development in Africa. And I believe that our researchers that are connected today can identify with any of these networks that I've mentioned. So when following this launch, we are also going to make calls for research proposals, first to promote academic mobility of the researchers in these networks. We hope that we'll be able to provide thesis support and training, especially for universities who are members of the Association of African Universities. We will be organizing capacity building webinars within the networks, and where there are international calls for research proposals relevant to any of these networks through AAU, you get informed. We hope that following the launch today, we shall kick off activities with workshops and meetings among the members of the various networks. Ladies and gentlemen, permit me to present to you today, before this official launching by Professor Peter Okebukola, the African Research, Innovation and Development Network, which is set to become a Pan-African network for bringing researchers and academic excellence to contributing to African development. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Professor Olushola Oyewole, for that excellent presentation. I think at a later time, I'll try and read some of the feedback that we are getting from the chat. But for now, it gives me pleasure to welcome someone that I admire the most, Professor Peter Okebukola, particularly his contribution to African higher education, his enthusiasm for everything that takes higher education forward. So Professor Peter Okebukola, you are most welcome. I hope you are able to share your screen if there's a need to. Thank you very much, Prof.
Thank you so very much, Madam Ndumo. We are appreciative of the work that you are doing at the Association of African Universities. Your Excellency, our Secretary General, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I am deeply honored, very honored, to be asked to launch the AFRID Network today, the 26th day of September 2022. If you asked me to name somebody who has the strongest commitment and a believer in Africa's progress, I will name His Excellency Professor Olushola Oyewole. Did you know that the African Quality Assurance Network, AFRICON, in 2007, when we organized a regional conference of quality assurance in Tanzania, Dar es Salaam, he made a presentation to us, which led to the establishment of AFRICON. So he is the father, the originator of AFRICON, the network for quality assurance that is the umbrella organization for all quality assurance activities on our continent. Did you also know that several years back, Professor Oyewole, while a very senior staff of the African Union Commission in Addis, set up the African Quality Rating Mechanism, AQRM. You know, I asked you, did you know? Because many of you just coming into the fray, so to speak, would think that African, and in this case that I'm mentioning, AQRM, just from the blues. And the recent actors are taking credit for it. Did you know that it was Professor Olusola Oyiwole who instituted African Quality Rating Mechanism, AQRM? I recall also that after collecting the data, I was contracted by AUC based on its recommendation to be the consultant data analyst for the first outing of AQRM. Today, Professor Olusola Oyiwole is making history in the setting up, in the origination and the setting up of the African Research and Innovation Network, Research and Development Network, AFRID. We are very pleased that this is coming at this time when Africa is on the march towards the attainment of Agenda 26, SDG 2030 and Agenda 2063. We agree that attainment of the SDGs and attainment of Agenda 2063 are largely based on the research, innovation, and development efforts in the continent. We know that there are efforts going on in different pockets within the continent, the research, and what AFRID, the inspiration, I know it is God-given inspiration. And since he assumed office just about a year ago, Professor Olusola Oyiwole has been making efforts towards innovation in tackling major challenges bedeviling our continent. This is no doubt divine. You have been brought to AAU at a time when Africa needs you most. It's on this note that I would like to publicly launch the AFRID Network to the glory of God and to Africa's taking leadership position in the attainment of global and regional agendas. I would like to thank all the persons that we have invited from our Virtual Institute for Capacity Building Higher Education. As I speak, there are 392 participants from all over the continent. And I did send out, just a few days ago, an early bird registration. I'm happy to let the Secretary General know, and the others who are here, that I have, and that's the only screen I'm going to share, that as at about an hour ago, I already have 431 early bird registrants for the AFRID network. And this is an indication that we are good to go. The launch is on, but before we, after the launch, we want to hit the ground running. We want to go beyond launch. And what we'll be discussing with the SG is that we must start very quickly to build capacities in research. And in that wise, we're going to be working with AAU to set up one module of research and development. We want to strengthen the research capacity because one of the weak areas of African scholars, especially in recent times, is research capacity. Capacity to see where the problem is, especially problems relating to Africa, capacities to get the appropriate methodology to solve the problem, capacities to innovate, capacities to write up good quality research, good quality proposals. So in the coming weeks, we'll be liaising with the headquarters, that's at AAU, to see how we can very rapidly begin capacity strengthening of our researchers. Before I close, I would like to state that in the coming days, we are going to set up, we will mean our group, the West African group, and the VIGBE. VIGBE has footprints all over Africa. We have, for instance, the executive secretary of the Malawi Higher Education Council, Dr. Piri, and the others who are vice chancellors all over the place, directors of academic planning, deputy vice chancellors, directors of research, top rank researchers. So we're going to be learning from each other. We're going to be sharing experiences in the capacity building area. And so we'll be setting up our own database to feeding into AAU. So the 431 persons that have signed on as Elderbird, please expect that we're going to set up a very robust database, which we are going to now make available to the Association of African Universities. Once again, I'd like to specially thank His Excellency, Professor Olushola Oyewole. You are on the right side of history. History will judge you right as somebody who has made the most commitment to Africa's progress. So again, AFRID is now launched to the glory of God.
Thank you.
Of development in Africa. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you very much, Professor Okebukola. Unfortunately, it's raining heavily here in Accra. I hope you can still hear us.
Loud and clear, loud and clear,
yes.
ma'am. Loud and clear.
Thank you very much. Before we demonstrate how to connect to the AFRID network, I just want to mention a few comments. There was a comment that we need to emphasize forestry and wildlife resources in the AFRID networks too. There was also a comment that we must include non-communicable diseases under health and pharmacy. There was a contribution also that the network could discuss the possibility of establishing a network of centers of excellence in development communication with a special emphasis on sustainable development goals. I'm also happy that the Liberia Research and Education Network is also represented on this call. We also got a message from Professor Ramon, who was introduced by Professor Oyewole. He said that he would have to leave soon because of another engagement. And he basically introduced or spoke about the massively open online courses that we will be holding in collaboration with Obriel Global. I think some colleagues on this call also received the invitation to join those MOOCs. We also are grateful that NORAD is represented on this call, and also the university, the Delaware State University in the United States of America is also represented in this call. There are so many distinguished colleagues on this call. I won't go name by name, but I thought it would be useful to just mention some of the contributions that are in the chat. So in collaboration with my colleague, Mr. Frank Asefua, we will now proceed to show you how to actually sign up to the AFRID network. Frank, are you ready?
Yes, Madam, I am.
Yes. If you could please proceed, and then I would come along. as required. Yeah.
All right, that's fine. Just good morning, afternoon, everyone, wherever you are coming from. I actually can't see my video, so it's not sure. My name is Frank Asifua. I am a senior web developer here at the AAU. I also am a project manager for a project called the African Jobs Board, which looks at bringing jobs in academia together for African academics to look at and then to be able to apply for them and be able to also move around the continent as well. However, today we're here to discuss the AFRID networks, and I'd like to show you how to be able to visit the AFRID website. I placed the link in the chat because I think one of our members in the audience was requesting for it, so you can look at it, but you can also go through with me as well. Madam, please confirm you can see my screen.
Yes, please, Frank.
Okay.
I can. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So this is the AAU website, and there's a lot of information here. Currently, the information that is showcased with regards to the AFRID is the launch, which we are doing now, and that is on the first page, which is the first slider here. However, after the launch has been completed, we would put a direct link to the page from there. So if you visit the website, there are news and then sections about us and about our partners and the benefits of joining the AAU. And then we talk a little bit about the AAU TV, which is a television station that focuses on education on the continent, and its link on YouTube and also its website as well. Then we also talk a little bit about the Aids for Development Impact Project, which has been the World Bank, which is a World Bank funded initiative that has been run for quite a while with the AAU and is still growing. And the next section is our websites. And after the first few websites, we see the AFRID website. If you click on it, it will open the dashboard to you. So if you also use the link in the website, you will get directly here as well. In here, there are two categories. Sorry for the noise. There are two categories of the AFRID networks, as SG mentioned already. One focused on creating the networks and one for universities, which are specialized in specific areas. So this gives a brief about them and then talks about both of them. I'll first talk about the AFRID networks, which I also saw a comment in there where there was someone asking with regards to whether they have to be a lecturer or a staff at the university to register. Absolutely not. If you have any research interests in any of the areas that are there, you can just register, and you can register through the AFRID network. So you click here when you come to the AFRID website, and then you'll be shown the homepage. Now, when you register, you select a section or an area, a specialization area that you're interested in, and then you can be able to join it. So this is the homepage of the AFRID network. If you join the AFRID network, and it contains some information about the need for the AFRID network, and also why the AAU is doing this, and then the partners that have come together in order to be able to execute this project. We also see the goals, the vision, and then the mission of the project as well being described here. Yes, and then the various categories, as we mentioned earlier. I see a lot of feedback in the chat with regards to some areas we could also look into. I think if we're able to collate that, we'd also be able to create sub areas in those large branches in order to be able to narrow down the networks in there as well. So here we see the networks that are available. So agro processing and food networks. Here you can click to view the members who have already registered. You can join as a group or you can join as an individual. That is also available for you, and it works the same for all of them. So if you come on here and you want to see some of the members who are in that network, you can click on this button and then it will allow you to be able to see them as well. You can then join as an individual or as a group. I'll scroll down and then I'll come back again so that we can register together. Then there is some extra information about the AFRID network and how you can get in touch with us if there are any issues or any questions you have. Maybe you entered this section and you were actually supposed to register your university. There's a link here which says University Networks, which can also assist you to be able to get there as well. So I'll click on that, but then we'll focus on registering here first. So let's join ICT, because I'm in ICT. So yeah, so I'll click to join as an individual. Yes, and then it would require my name. So Frank. So yeah. My computer is running a little bit slow. Sorry. Then my phone number. I'm just punching any numbers. And then you can select at least one area of interest. The reason why we kind of narrowed it down a lot for individual registrations is because more often than not, as people focus on one specialty area, and that is why that is done. So it's the required field, and you look through it, and then you select one of them which fits your need. Mine is digital education, digitalization, and ICT. When I click done, then it tells me that I've been able to join the network. So let's then go and then see how we'll be able to do the same on the AFRID universities. So the universities page also looks quite similar to the network. The difference is you see universities instead of the network. So that can also assist you in there. The same look as well in order to maintain consistency. And then in order to register your university, so let's say ICT and digitalization again, basically is the same, but in here you are able to only view the universities in the network, and you can add your university. So this can assist you whenever you're using this in order to see the other universities that are in here. Check. I think someone is trying to gain control of the screen. Maybe when we're done, we'll take questions. So you could please hold on to them. So you then click on adding your university. When you click on that, it then opens another form for us. So in here, there is much more information because it says for the university, so it needs a bit more information as compared to an individual signing, which you must agree with me. So you put the name of the institution, and the country where the university, let me see, AAU is an African body. So let's say Africa instead of Ghana. Okay. And then we put a number in here. There's also just dummy text. Then the website of the institution, the name of vice chancellor. We don't have a vice chancellor, we have the secretary general. So you could input the name of your vice chancellor in there, the email of the vice chancellor, the contact number, the name of some key people in the institution to also authenticate this registration as well. Then the name of the registrar, the email of the registrar, and the contact number. Also, you could check whether your university is a member of the AAU or not, and that is also a bit of a requirement before you join the network. So on clicking this button here, you'll be directed to another page that can assist you in order to know whether your institution is a member or not. But at this moment, we'll just skip that. And since universities have a lot of colleges and a lot of specialty areas, we are requesting that universities that are setting up select at least 2 areas of interest. So among these, you can select 2 or more based on the specialty of your institution as well. And then that would be inputted into the system. Then usually with these, usually there are lead researchers which lead research into specific thematic areas in a university. So we ask that the lead researchers information be placed in there, then 2 alternates, a first alternate and then another alternate. If there are more people that need to be added to the network, they could just join using the network's website as well. So then we would have information about the person submitting this form as well, so that we can authenticate that person as well. And then that brings you to the end of your registration, and then you are a member of the AFRID network. Thank you very much. Madam, that's all. Yes, thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Frank. I think you've done very well. I'll just read a few contributions in the chat and then maybe ask one person to ask a question. I saw that Professor Samranda Olarinde said, please include law as well in a sub-network on law. Miss Lisbeth Levy said, AFRID is an excellent idea, but I have a question about the networks. There are already a number of African research networks. 2 that come to mind are OSRIA for the social sciences and NAPRECA for natural products chemistry. Some networks may be more active than others, but how will AFRID ensure that you do not duplicate the efforts of other networks and also recognize their contributions to African science? There was also Ezekiel Aqua, who said you may consider environmental and earth sciences network, water resources management network. Olumide said there could be sustainable computing to take care of all the sustainables. Mabel Asabia asked whether there's a payment required to join the network. So I think those are just a few of the questions. I would like to check whether there's someone with a burning question. There was a hand raised by Michael Emejulu. I don't know whether he's able to speak because I see, or maybe Julius Garcia, if you could speak. Just one person to speak before the next. Can you please enable Julius to speak? Thank you.
Yes, hello. Good day to everyone. This is Dr. Julius Garcia. I would like to know if what happens if you are not a member of AAU? What will be the disadvantages? And do you really require to be for a university to be a member of AAU? Thank you.
Probably I can answer that straight away. Membership of AAU is not a requirement for you to contribute to development in Africa. And that's why if you are not a member of AAU, you can still join, and then through your membership, you'll probably see the benefits of becoming a member of AAU. Thank you very much.
And then the payment issue, Prof. Oyewole, would you like to speak to that?
You do not need to pay anything to connect yourself to the network, either as a researcher or as a university. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. We would now move to the next phase. I don't know if Miss Elizabeth Kolushi is connected.
Hi, Nodomo. Yes, I'm here.
Yes, the floor is yours, Elizabeth. You are most welcome. Thank you.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much for the kind invitation to be with you today on this very important occasion. It's really a pleasure. I won't be long, but I do think it is important to comment briefly on the importance of this new initiative, not just for Africa itself, but also globally. I think it has tremendous significance for Africa as a partner in research globally. I'm here today representing the organization Obrial Global. We are partners with the Association of African Universities. The Association of African Universities is also a member of our association. My colleague and president, Ramon Torrent, has had to leave, unfortunately, but left some nice words in the chat accordingly. We are extremely pleased with the partnership with AAU as the one continental voice for higher education in Africa. And I have to applaud the vision of the association with this initiative and also the speed with which it was rolled out. I remember just a few months ago, I met several European Commission officials in Brussels with the Secretary General, Olusola Oyewole, who listened very attentively to their new priorities for research development and for research cooperation with Africa. I think some of the ideas that have inspired the AFRID Network have come out of those meetings. It was made very clear that Europe, but also Asia and the United States and Latin America and other parts of the world have great expectations for Africa as a partner, as an equal partner, and as a leader in the research sector. And I think that this network and this initiative can be a tremendous support. It is unique in many ways, and I applaud that because there are, of course, many initiatives and many networks for research collaboration in Africa, some of them thematic, some of them focused on excellence and top universities. I think this network has the potential to be inclusive and to embrace universities of all different sizes and capacities and missions, to help them to profile, to help them define peers, and to give them a voice and a role in the African research space. This will be, I think, particularly important in terms of partnering globally, as I said before. Obrial Global represents universities and university associations and research centers across the globe in Europe, in Latin America, in Southeast Asia, in the Middle East, in India, etc. And there's a tremendous expectation that we will be able to develop collaborative research initiatives together, and that the AFRID initiative can be a platform for this. We are waiting eagerly as you consolidate this platform, as you generate members, but we are available to collaborate in the next steps, capacity building initiatives, joint proposals, promoting the network and its opportunities globally, helping you to find more partners globally as well. We're extremely excited. As usual, we are at the service of the AAU to help to grow what you have so impressively articulated and outlined in a very short amount of time. We would also be very interested to see how your proposal to have branded universities develops. I think this is a unique contribution. It is a way to encourage African universities to think about their specializations, to think about where they have unique capacity and knowledge to contribute, but also to think about where they might want to focus their specialization, because we can't expect that all universities are excellent at everything. So congratulations on that vision and on that proposal, which is quite unique. I would just like to close by thanking AAU again for being such a strong partner. And we look forward to all of the exciting contributions that this new network will make. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Elizabeth. It's always a pleasure to hear from you. We appreciate your contributions. May I now ask my colleague, Professor Damtu Tefera, to introduce the Climate Network and our vision for it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Nodumo, and thank you very much, colleagues, especially Professor Peter Okebukola, a good friend. We've been working with him for, I don't know, as long as I remember. And thank you for the tremendous contributions, Peter. Nodumo, may you be kind to actually allow me to share.
Okay, you are a co-host, so you should be able to share.
All right, thank you. Thank you very much. So it is actually my sincere pleasure to announce an already emerging network in climate change. And this initiative is a partnership initiative between 4 major institutions steered by the Association of African Universities, including the All African Students Union, the Sustainable Development Center for Africa, the Gaia Education. In terms of what these associations are, I am not going to spend much time except to say that AAU is a 400 African Universities membership, and the All African Student Union is the largest student movement in Africa, and the Sustainable Development Goals based in Rwanda is to support African governments in accelerating the achievement of SDGs, and the Gaia Education and International Education for Sustainable Development NGO experience in online face-to-face participants with the knowledge and skills. So these are the partners. What we did was we identified champion universities to actually pursue this initiative. Accordingly, we have so far these institutions from Algeria, Botswana, Cameroon, Cote d'Ivoire, Egypt, Ethiopia, Ghana, Mauritius, Namibia, Nigeria, South Africa, and Zimbabwe. These are the institutions. I'm not going to go into the names here, except to say that our intention is to actually bring about 15 champion universities to in this network. So what is the objective really? The objective is actually to introduce a digital education package with accompanying expert practical support. And this is collaboratively designed to support the African university students to engage in climate change within the framework of the SDG targets. So the creation, ultimately the objective is to create 2 or more short free digital courses to be provided to all African university students on the topics of climate change and SDGs. The content will be solely designed within the context of Africa, of course, taking into consideration what happens globally for a sense of ownership on the part of African education institutions. Who are developing the 15 leading African universities we mentioned would be actually responsible for the production of that material. So what's our plan of action? It is the first one is exploratory dialogue among champions, digital meetings for the development of the curriculum, face-to-face meetings for review and finalizing the curriculum itself, and the curriculum launch and dissemination. What is our intention as an outcome? We have like a short-term, mid-term, and long-term approaches. The short-term one is a pilot one with our intention to reach 100,000 students with the respective universities in the first year. And in the midterm, our intention is actually to reach some 1 million students. And in the long term, about 20 million higher education students. That's what we estimate African students in African higher education institutions. So this is our intention. So what has been going on? We had our first consultative meeting among the champion universities about 10 days ago. So now the consultation is underway with the task team to deliberate on a strategy of presence and presentation for COP27 in Egypt. as you are well, a major event coming up there in climate change. So now the other one is to disseminate the project. I wish to emphasize here is that our broader intention is not necessarily to focus only on curriculum development with regard to climate change, but as AFRID, we will be looking at research, of course, but also pursue issues, areas of policy dialogue and advocacy and partnership in climate change within the framework of the AFRID initiative. I thought this would give you a good sense of what we are doing in the area of climate change, and we are happy to launch and share that this would be the first theme or thematic area in which AFRID would be driving on. Thank you, Chair.
I didn't understand that.
Thank you very much. Nodumo, back to you.
Okay, thank you very much, Professor Tefera. Most appreciated. There are questions on the chat. One specific one related to your presentation, which I think I will call out. Grace Cargo says, will this course material on climate change be interpreted or translated into different African languages?
Thank you, if I may. Most certainly, Africa speaks multiple languages. To be sure, 50% of Africa does not speak English. So we will make sure that we cater to that interest. If you actually look at the list of institutions as champions, they actually look at this language dynamics: Arabic speaking, French speaking, Portuguese speaking, and of course, English speaking. To just a quick response, we most certainly look at that because there are already, the champions are already composed of those language groups. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you very much. Before I give two people to voice their contributions, there were also suggestions.
Dr. Nodumo, know that we have 1 hour. We have just some few minutes. We can't take everything. In Nigeria, we're dead on time. We said 1 hour. Let it be 1 hour, please.
Oh, okay, sure. No problem, Prof. So can I now hand over back to you so that we can conclude? And may I ask Abubakar, Sabitu, and Ibrahim to please put their comments in the chat. Thank you very much.
Thank you so very much, our anchor, Dr. Nodumo. To give some closing remarks in 5 minutes, I'll do it in 2. Because like I said, in Nigeria, when it says 1 hour, we keep within that 1 hour. A few things to say as I close. The first is to thank again and again the Secretary General of AAU, His Excellency Professor Olusola Oyewole, for making history today. We all here are also making history because we are going to be charter members. Meaning of charter is that you are the inaugural, the foundation people, the founding members of AFRID. And as soon as we finish, we will encourage everybody to go to the site and sign up. I'll be sending the link to all the 431 members from our AFRID Network. I will send the link to you now so that you can go to that site and register and be founding members and put that in your CV. Your CV has improved today. Put in your CV as founding members of AFRID and the climate change group as soon as you sign up there. Now, about the form, clearly there is some need to tweak it a little bit. I would like to suggest to Frank that we put, after the listing, let's put order and then specify. So you leave it blank there for people because there are several suggestions in the chat window about, oh, include this, include that. So it would be nice if at the start we'll give some allowance because in conceptualizing it, we may not have thought of all the special areas, and we cannot even accommodate all the special areas in minute, in small details. So, but if we put in the form any other, so that by the next round of the form, we'll have captured many more there. And in the form also, we wrote name and go. I think it would be nice to have surname. Let's break it down to have surname and the first name rather than just have name there. And then telephone. Well, maybe you want to say telephone number. There are a few things that I'm sure Dr. Ludumo and the others at the Secretariat will take care of. Second thing is that we need to have what we call key performance indicators for this network. Now we have launched it. We shouldn't stay in the sky. We should hit the ground. And this can include the research output of the network, quality of research, solutions to Africa's grand challenges, how we are addressing that by way of research. Key performance indicators like inventions, patents, publications will need to be measures that we can say, yes, Professor Iwole's inspired network has been able to achieve the following. The fourth thing I would like to say is that, yes, AAU is the voice of Africa. On this project or on this initiative, don't let our voice be low. Let our voice be high and high and high, and so for us to make impact. Once again, I'd like to appreciate His Excellency Professor Iwole, the leadership of AAU, all those that have attended this epoch-making, this historical event. And please note that AFRID, the way I saw it, the F there is in lowercase, AF lowercase, and then read. Thank you very much. Back to you, Dr. Ludumo.
Thank you very much. Thank you for closing us. We will go away listening to our anthem. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Shaping Africa's educational thoughts. Spring of talents, web of motion, amazing, basic woman's innovation, upholding community, equity, and standards, transforming Africa's education. We espouse perspectives and last function. We research, we strive. We facilitate teaching and learning in all disciplines and courses, transforming Africa's education. AAU, the pillar of higher learning, spearheading Africa's development. AAU, one of friendship, one of values, partnership for higher learning.
Thank you to everybody. See
Thank you,
you
sir.
later. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Bye. Yes.